See, scarves make sense to me. At least you can use it. I'm like, scarves, yes, but like just a 1, 2, 3 meters of cloth.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's gonna sit down and make a dress out of that cloth.
But not all the scarves. I've seen like
Does it happen that you get back the scarf that you gave?
I'm Mirey.
I'm Özgecan.
And we are two Kazakhs living in Berlin, Germany.
And this is our nomadic lives.
Many traditions were misinterpreted, and it's only now that I'm also on a journey of revisiting and learning and seeing how, oh my God, this felt really discomfortable because people were putting too much on me with this tradition. But in reality, it shouldn't be that way. And I think... And
it's not talking about the patriarchy here, guys.
Yes, patriarchy and all the female borders of like living and prospering, if you can say. Yeah. But I remember that those restrictions are also in the Western Kazakh community.
Yeah.
It's not only...
I mean, this is something I always say, but like diasporas is just like culture frozen in time, right? The other day I went to a kızılatu. We call it a nishan now in Turkish. It was like sort of the official engagement. And they brought a big suitcase. And then they were like, you know, passing around gifts and whatnot. But like, we still give each other kulek, like mata.
Yes, mata.
We actually give each other still, to this day, cloth. Because we have so much time to sew clothes, right? I'm like, to this day, I'm like, can we...
And we don't have it all offered or...
Yeah, like we give each other cloth. And then somehow it gets recycled and you get back the cloth you gave to someone 10 years ago. Like it's this whole economy, this circular economy of, yeah. I mean, back in the day it made sense, right? Because you used to sew clothes out of the cloth. But now it's, yeah, I don't know what it's become. Yeah, but it's good to revisit stuff and be like, does this make sense anymore?
To adapt it.
Yeah, like we can also give each other sewn dresses, you know, like actual sewn dresses, which I think in Kazakhstan is more likely the case. Or do you still give each other cloth?
I think some occasions and events, totally. I see my mother-in-law also always having it ready, and bringing new. But it was always a question for me to like, why these? What do you do with that? When are you gonna really use what? But now,
I thought you guys moved past it. That's so. What about Jainamas, like prayer rugs? Do you give each other prayer rugs?
Just last year when I visited Astana, the men got
prayer rugs.
Yes, prayer rugs, and then the women got the scarves.
Okay.
Okay, now it's I think scarves but the material, yes. The importance of material exchange.
See, scarves make sense to me. At least you can use it. I'm like, scarves, yes, but like just a 1, 2, 3 meters of cloth.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone who's gonna sit down and make a dress out of that cloth.
But not all the scarves. I've seen like
Does it happen that you get back the scarf that you gave? No, I think that's more likely in our community because we're so closed off. It's just madness. Yeah.
No, but it's so cute. Like this summer, I think when relatives were visiting and my mother-in-law, they had this big celebration during the year when we were not there. And she brought a couple of scarves to me from that event. And I was like, that's so cute. It's really... like pleased me, and it's a warm gesture of attention. Okay, they're there, so please take it, and it's for her. Yes. But then I was like, but I'm not gonna use it here, and I don't have the circle to exchange it into further.
You never know. It was actually funny the other day. My mom called me and she was like, oh, like, do you have a köylek at home? And when we say köylek, we mean mata, like
something
cloth.
to make köylek from.
Yeah, exactly. Make a dress from. And I was like, no. And she's like, Özge, you've come to that age. You need to have at least 3-4 köylek in your house. Like, you're always going to this Quran khatim, that toy, anam, no. And I'm like, oh my God, like I have enough stuff that I don't need at home. I don't want to. I'd rather go to a shop and buy like a dress and give it to the person. But
yeah, that's like actually your time and attention to find.
But it's also cute somehow.
Yeah, it's very cute. It's already outliving it, I think, with younger generations, and even us having this talk of in the future when we are 78 years old, I think we'll be remembering this and then calling and asking, so I'm preparing for the event, what do you want to eat? And the budget is this.
You need mata.
What are you renovating? What kind of mata you need, or should it be something else? And yeah, it's changing little by little, but toys are so precious.
Toys meaning like weddings or celebrations in general is called a toy in Kazakh. But yeah, I was actually like, we have a thing in the community about people in Kazakhstan.
Tell me.
So, it's like the other day Ayat was like, oh, I'm coming toward the 45, and I was like, Ayat, I'm gonna make you a 50-year-old Kazakhstani toy, because we don't do that here. We don't do like the big number of birthdays. Yes. We don't, like, we just, it's your birthday, whatever, nobody cares. So yeah, like for us it's actually quite interesting that in Kazakhstan, like even for really elder appas, there will be like 70-year-old birthday parties and all this, which we just don't have. No, we don't have that.
Oh my God, that's so like older you get, more value to the celebration and like.
But I love it. No, I think it's really cool. But like, I remember when I was in Kazakhstan, someone invited me to their appa's like 70-year-old birthday, and I was like, what? Really? Like, it's, in our community, it's almost like, you don't do that. No, like you celebrate maybe little children's birthdays.
Oh,
but, like,
really?
the older you get, the more you ignore your age. Yeah.
Don't you have a Mirei toy?
No, what's a Mirei toy?
Oh my God.
Okay,
my name is Mirei, and Mirei toy, that's how I learned the meaning of my name at the beginning. So you know how every name has its meaning, and then when I went to school, people were asking me, so what is your name's meaning? And then I couldn't explain, I didn't know back then, but I always heard this 60 Mirei toy, 60 years Mirei toy, 70 Mirei toy.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, okay, they call those celebrations Mirei toy. It must be celebration. My name means celebration. Then.
Yes. I know that celebration, but like, so do they use it only for birthdays or like for anything really? Don't they?
No, the toy of you having that high of a dignity, like the special respected, and that's the age, I guess, 60 plus, and it's not like. Mireying steenbolsen, they say, and then I started building and understanding, like, so it's about something of a higher dignity, and then the.
Oh wow, yeah, no, maybe I'll do a 40th Mirei toy in 2 years.
It's absolutely, I never.
Can you do a 40-year-old?
I don't know. No, I don't think it's just a toy for celebration.
40-year-old Turan kun,
Turan kun, but it's so important to celebrate those.
Like, see, we don't. Yeah, I guess I need to.
And that's the part of Western integration, probably.
Not celebrating? No, I think.
Is it? Because here I see that people are so easy about like.
But no, I don't. Okay, so the thing is, the beef is, like a lot of, because, our community is also conservative, religiously speaking, so, and they're like, in Islam, you don't really celebrate your birthdays. It's not a big deal. Yes, we celebrate our prophet's birthday, but we don't actually celebrate ours. And in that regard, like, the Kazakhstani way of like celebrating birthday is seen as like a progressive thing. They might have taken it from somewhere else, but who knows? I'm not claiming that. I'm just relaying what I've heard.
I see. In that term, Kazakhstani community presents itself as more globalized and accepting.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, we should really look into the depth of I think this phrase and the respect to the wisdom and to actually of the ages and the relatedness is
for sure. Like there's a huge respect for like the elders. For instance, actually the Kızıltu, the Nishan I went to the other day, the microphone was given to the eldest in the room.
How long does it speech?
Well, it was kind of longer, but people got bored quickly and they were like, we want to dance. But and he spoke only in Kazakh, which was really sweet. And he was like, I mean, like I said, like the elders, when they do these speeches, they speak Kazakh. And he was like educating the younger, and he was like telling us about our jitata and then jita apa as well. And I was like, what? Really? Sorry. For those who don't speak Kazakh, this is the
7 generations
culture of naming your 7 generations, and it's usually patrilineal, so going from the father up. But then he was telling us how to also count our mother's side, which was interesting and very progressive of him for an aksakal, for an elder in our
oh wow.
And aksakal,
some good feminist voice living next to him probably.
Yes. Oh yeah, no, my aunt, like they're our relatives actually, and yeah, my aunt is a real like real go-getter. But that's what happens as a Kazakh woman, I think. Like once you're a kid, but then once you're old, you become sort of the matriarch in the house to make up for all those lost years of being a just kid. No, it was great. And then, of course, we danced to Karajorga. That's always the first song that comes on, and they usually play it twice. And then we move on to some Turkish sort of wedding music, and then they close the night off with some millennial hip hop.
Do you have some Kazakh songs?
Not really, no. Apart from Karajorga, no, we don't, unfortunately.
And also it will be interesting to know, I think, to our listeners that the difference, I already asked you before, that Toy, the celebration here doesn't have the tamada, the
speaker,
coordinate.
No, there's no moderator. It's usually, so the food is like Kazakh. This is the thing. So we call it et palau. It's basically plov, right? With lots of meat on top of it.
But meat is prepared the bishparmak way, the boiled way, no?
Yeah. And then usually the rice is made with the broth, the sorpa, the meat, so it tastes extra yummy. But this, so if we want to talk about the history of food, it's interesting because I made that once, and you were also there, and Kazakh friend was there. And she was surprised that I used basmati rice for it. And we only use basmati rice for the plov. And it's basmati rice as opposed to the other rice, which is round, and basmati is like thin and long. And I'm pretty sure we picked that up in India and Pakistan, that way of making it. But my father tells me when he was younger, that's not what they ate. It was more like just even for guests. He said the rice component came later. I mean, they call it Turkistan pilav actually, but it would just be meat, sometimes bishparmak if they
the dough,
yeah, or, and then like just different stuff like the bağırsak, the fry bread, and then kurt, jent, talkan, so this sort of stuff. And then the rice came along later. But now whenever we have a big toy or celebration, or where we invite the community, it's always yet palau.
And I have to say that it's so much harder to arrange that kind of big celebration the Kazakh way, that we love to share the event and with like the majority of our relatives and friends, but do it here in European context when you don't have the restaurants and the cooks and the team ready for you to.
I mean, that's the thing. It's one of the biggest sort of challenges to keeping it going here, actually, because like whenever you think of doing like giving a big konak or at, whenever you think about like giving a big feast for the community, it's always this, oh my God. It's really hard because like the bağırsak, the fry bread, you have to make yourself. So then you're like asking friends and family, can you make 5 kilos? Can you make 3 kilos? Can you make, then you like delegate. And then you have to buy, like usually someone or the association has the big stove with the gas cylinder. And we do everything like back in the nomadic times, either outside in the garden in a big kazan, like in a big pot. And boil the meat, and then
all the cousins need to be invited.
Yes. And I mean, this is how I grew up. Like especially during like Oraza, because during Ramadan, every family, like everyone would give one meal. No, correction. In Ramadan, like a few families would get together and give an iftar, like a meal together. And so it always depended. Like we'd be 1 year, we'd have like 3 families come together and we would do it at the mosque. So then you get up in the morning and you're like cutting, I don't know how many carrots for the palau first, right? And then you have like the sheep slaughtered. And then you have someone, either my mom or a friend of hers, sitting at the head of this big pot, this like big pot, right? Like, you know, Thai kazandai, like, and cooking the meat and, you know, making and it's just so much work. It's so much work. And it's usually really worth it because the food is most of the time really freaking delicious. But I mean, like, my mom was in Kazakhstan this month and she was saying, oh my God, Ezgijan, like Kazakhstan's so much easier. Like, you know, if you have someone come by, you just order it and they bring you a plate of pishpan map with all the meat and everything ready on it. But here you have to do everything by hand. I mean, you even, when you invite your friends over, have to do everything from scratch.
And it's so much harder here.
Yeah.
And then it's really hard to keep those small traditions and shared moments, how we like it to be. But then in your reality of like living, working, studying, parenting.
So that's the thing, because like, I mean, maybe just for context for listeners who might not be Kazakh or Central Asian, like when you give a meal, you give a meal. It's not just like one dish. It's like you cover the whole table with everything. And like the classics are having the fried bread, the bağırsak, and then you have the big plate of, you know, either dough with meat or rice with meat, the main dish. And then you have like 500 types of salad and 2 cakes at the end for dessert and sweets. And when you try to host like that on your own here, it's so difficult. And it leads to the fact that I don't host that often, even though I love having people over, because I'm like, you're working already, you're a mother, you're maybe working part-time, and then in the afternoons you're with your kids, taking care of your kids. And my mom, she was telling me, like, she went to some relative's house, you know, they were like, oh, everything's homemade, you know, everything. And she was like, yeah, but I bought this from this lady, and I bought this from this lady, and I bought the cake from here, but it's homemade. But like, of course, it is homemade, just not in her home. And I think the only thing she had made was the main dish, which in and of itself is also a lot of work. So yeah, sometimes it is more difficult to keep the tradition going here. And the thing is, in our community, it really exhausts the elder women, my mom's generation, because they're the ones who know how to make it. And most of the younger, like my age people, we're so busy with work and this and that we come to help where we can. We'll cut the onions and the carrots, but beyond that, the actual, you know, stirring of the pot and all this, and then like the tartu, like separating the meat, giving
serving it, preparing it. No, definitely. I'm thinking that for our culture to be adapted to modern times of like everyone equally working in the family, and you need to have the opportunity to delegate, to order, and then it's absolutely normal. I know that, well, I'm thinking about my aunties and like my mom, who are very strict about and support this idea of homemade, and you have to make this and that on your own. We have to prepare it ourselves. And I feel that fuzz when I go home too. But you don't have to. There is like this service is provided for you. There are people and companies and really like homemade services, and even cooks that you can invite home to help you. And if you are spending your time on something that only you can do, like professionally, and earning money, why don't you give that thing to other person who is a professional in that? So like I don't have a question if you're a professional cook and you want to do all of that on your own.
Or you're a homemaker, right? And that's kind of, you know, it's natural. A whole job, right? It's a whole job. Maybe you are a stay-at-home person and you know, you have the time to start preparing stuff.
It's very like depends on the situation, but I realized that it also the case for many women probably in Kazakhstan is sometimes the amount of these guests invited and celebrations is so intimidating. Like it gets you frustrated when it's not your guests per se.
Oh my God. I have so many stories about this.
Yes. You also have that. Right?
No, I don't. I personally don't. But like I have, friends, but it's like
who live close too.
Yeah, who live close to their in-laws, and then the in-laws are like, yeah, so and so came. You have to host them at your house. And then like my friend going, they're not my guests. They're your guests. Like, why am I hosting your guests? But yeah,
and I think for it's really easier, lighter in the city situation. And I'm really thankful. My mother-in-law, I think we got used to each other and we learned how to communicate ahead and then be like, okay, this is the day where it fits in. And then this all stuff should be ordered, something like that. But for many, unfortunately, out of the respect or when it's the majority of the group that says that's the norm and you have to follow the norm, it's really hard to be we already talked about to stand out, be the first to
be the revolutionary.
And that really was something of so tired of celebrations. But when I moved here, that's when I felt that this is a part of my part of me, culture and identity, and I love these moments. And that's what makes us, and it's not so hard it's actually very enriching to have the guests. And then when it's like your own people, you share so much in common, and those moments are really priceless. At the same time, I realized, with our sizes of living, I remembered how all of the houses back home, they have like this 15 chairs and long table and everything ready. Here it's a challenge and it's impossible to prepare for that amount.
But you know what we do when that happens?
What do you have so many? Tell me.
Yeah, no. We eat on the floor and just put a dastarkhan on the floor.
Jir stol, it's not the table, it's
just on the floor. We're very used to sitting on the floor still to this day, yeah.
That's a very beautiful experience. And then
she's like, no, it's not.
I'm like shocked. I'm just trying to remember when was it the last time when I...
But actually, to be fair, I think it's been a while since. Now that I think of it, it's been a really long time. But usually so there's this building in Istanbul, in Zeytinburnu, with the Kazakh association. And there, for instance, you would still sit on the floor. We used to have the whole thing with the kuman and the mayluk. I still remember it. Like, I still remember that from my childhood.
I also had it when I visited my grandparents to prepare to go and to meet the elder.
Yeah, and then like wash their hands and then have them wipe their hands.
We are so easy adaptable because of that. Because when you want to, when you know the value that you have in this moment, shared moment and everything, all the other situations that seem too hard to arrange actually are solvable quite.
Yeah, exactly. So if you have 20 people coming to your home to eat, you just put a big tablecloth on the floor and you all sit on the floor and you eat on the floor. Oh my God. Our knees will be like that.
And I'm also thinking about the situation. We have kids and they're going to be just running through the table. No, let's do it some other time.
But actually now, I mean, I just said that I don't remember the last time no, that's not true. I do remember the last time I sat on the floor, and that was a couple of years ago, in Denmark. I don't remember whose house it was, but someone...
I think in Kazakhstan it's also because I have... my dear friend lives in West Kazakhstan in Akhtau, and it's a very... commonly practiced thing, and I would be really surprised every time I see that they have this arrangement, and it's actually really, really good from the point that you have guests, I don't know, once a month, let's say, and other time you have the spacious room. There's no big table and
I don't know if you guys had this, but we had up until recently, like 90s, especially in Turkey, when people got married, they used to have a Kazakh room. And the Kazakh room was literally just the little mattresses on the floor to sit on. And so if you got guests, you would just host them there and everyone would sit. There was no other furniture in there. It was a Kazakh room.
Oh.
Yeah, and you would have like really nicely ornamented, you know, cushions for the floor.
Mm-hmm.
The
Kopshik.
Yeah. And then you would just, and every newly married couple, if they had the space, they had a separate Kazakh room.
Wow.
Yeah.
And it's my first time learning that it had this name of, and then the concept is so beautiful. I think I remembered this German school, my son's school, where they have a Ruheraum.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the quiet room.
Yeah, but that's true. It doubles then also as a prayer room, right? So, because like the elders, you know, they not only the elders, also younger people pray.
Yeah.
But yeah, they would pray then in that room too, because there would be space. Yeah.
That's a beautiful thing.
Now, Mary, when you move back to Kazakhstan, you need to have a Kazakh room.
Yeah, and it's gonna be the most minimalist where people are coming this modern time.
Oh my God, and it can be your yoga room.
Yes,
and your movement room.
It's gonna be a studio where you can be and do whatever you want to do. It's like, it's beautiful that it comes from our own like needs and cultural expressions that can be many different things.
And now that I mentioned that, I just remembered like my aunt had a Kazakh corner of the room, which was sort of, it was like she had the living room, but then there was this big corner. It was like almost a separate room. Actually, it was a separate room, but then they closed the door there. Oops. And she had her tuskis hanging there as well. So it was like beautifully decorated with all the motifs and everything. And then she had her tuskis there. And she still has it like that, as far as I know. Yeah.
That's beautiful. It's the living room then in the house, the main room. And now I remember and see my grandma's room, huge room with the tuskis on the wall and empty almost.
Yeah.
And then I would be like, why don't you put? And then there was this one small shelf with beautiful dishes. But other than that, nothing. And then in Simei, they would use the round tables to to sit and to have guests.
Yeah. Are you from Simei?
Your
family.
My root, my dad's part is from Simei.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, and then
because you're ortajus.
Yeah,
like me, and you're kiddie like my mom. So
yeah, and then
it's your mom actually.
She's the Oluges from Almaty region. So and I guess that what we talked about, I saw the difference of two parts of my family, and I grew up learning and hearing like two differently sounding Kazakhs, differently practiced and experienced these events, and they're really, really different. Although they meant to celebrate the same thing, but and then after marrying to Astana to Northern Kazakhstan, I'm continuing to learn more forms and ways of practicing our culture.
But it was the same for me, like because I mean, I married into Kishijus and it's also very different. And also on top of that, they had the whole Kazakh-Afghan
whole different
experience.
Different story.
Like, for instance, with them, the mata is velvet. So that was interesting for us. Like when of course, when the...
You don't do velvet because...
we do like normal cotton. Oh, you do velvet?
Velvet?
Oh, really?
I saw like velvet is the... You know how there's a hierarchy of mata?
Yeah.
So velvet is on the top of... And one Kudalak, the event of meeting relatives, kins from two sides, and then for older women, velvet goes.
Oh, see, maybe that went past our heads because, like, my mom was like, "Oh, they're giving velvet. This is interesting." Because like we only ever give cotton. We never like. So maybe they were like respecting my mother's side, and my mom didn't even know. You know, she was just like, "Oh, this is interesting. Why am I getting velvet?"
Exactly.
So funny.
This kind of situation happened so like frequently. And every toy last year, my sister's toy, when it's two different parts of the country, regions, and then the tribally differently practiced events. You get unexpected presents, and then you're like, why is it this way? But that means something for them, and it doesn't mean
the
same thing. You have to. So I think it's important to discuss, to go through the so in our region we celebrate, we have this.
But see, that's the thing, they did do that. They were like, we don't want to complicate it, but somehow in the end they still managed to like give each other rugs. And I do not understand this rug tradition, because my mom got a rug, she gave a rug.
Yes.
Then someone else got a rug, they gave a rug. Like, and it was just a trade between rugs. Everyone could just, keep their own rugs.
Sponsored them to get their own rug that they like and that fits well.
I'm just joking. I'm sure like everything has its symbolism and everything, and it's all beautiful, but sometimes my brain just doesn't have enough capacity.
No, but sometimes we just have to, the journey of learning it is just to laugh about it together.
Yes.
To be like, hey, I didn't know, and you also don't know.
Maybe they were offended that we gave them cotton mutton and we didn't know.
Now you have a question.
Now I have to ask my mother-in-law, were you offended that we gave you cotton mutton? So interesting.
And here we are after starting with the mother tongue, but coming to the mothers and the roots in the language that's the most available for both of us to keep this discussion on. It's a very beautiful way, and the book also talks about it, of having this secure emotional attachment to revisiting your actually attachments. And it's in your culture, with your mother, with everything that's the mother meaning the nature of what makes you you, but having the easiness and the vocabulary of
talking about it all.
I
think what I got out of this is that every language enriches us in a shape or form. Yeah, it made me think a lot about this idea of the monolingual. I really don't like this whole native language idea. Not only because, like I said, I grew up in Germany and I spoke a different language at home, but I was never educated in that language. I've lived in Germany for most of my life, and that's why this whole idea of beyond the mother tongue, there's a way that, for instance, as an immigrant to Germany, you become a German citizen, and then German is your mother tongue in a way, or your new native tongue, right? It's the language you were educated in, the language you learned to read in, etc. So then, like, your citizenship and your quote unquote mother tongue kind of align, or your native tongue align. And with me, I've always been in disalignment because of also the privilege of going to an English language school. But also I feel like sometimes when I'm applying for like grants to write in English or other things, that people look at my name, they're like, it's a Turkish name and she claims that she can write in English. And this sort of, people have this idea of this monolingual paradigm of the fact that wherever you're born, you must also, that must be your native language. And yes, like German is one of my native languages. Like I know it best together with English, but it's not my only native language, I would claim. And I think Kazakhstan is a wonderful place in that regard, because I think there that can be understood so much. And I think, now with the globalizing world and the internet of all things are shifting around that anyway. But yeah, I think we need to be more open-minded and get away from those sort of monolingual paradigms. Or I don't know. What do you think?
I agree with you that we are so in the post-monolingual era. And then from my personal perspective, I also feel that I don't want to be sorry that I know the language of my first education was not the native language. And then because of that, when I speak my native language, I have many foreign words in my speech, and then I don't want to be sorry for how I am and who I am in this term. And then but the reality about the world is that when you're traveling, and then the face, the visual, and the name implies something people expect, and then it's the people who will be curious and interested and ask those questions. And it's normal, it's beautiful thing about the world when you are moving, and then it reminds you again and again that, so I'm many things. I'm not only, when we're traveling to the West, exiting these gendered roles, but then we face the identity, nation, the language, all the paradigms again. And we will be again and again questioned about how it is that it is this way, how it is that you have Russian accent, and what else do you know and use. And then for those questions not to be intimidating and like, again, don't you know? No, people don't know. People really don't know. And people, maybe you're the first foreign person from that region. But for you to be able to like, hey, so it's very interesting story, and it starts with that. It's so important to have your own answers, and to know that at this point, this was the language of my growth. And then the next point, this language was the language of my healing. And this is the language that opened up the world of that. And oh my God, I'm so grateful to all the languages that came across and that I can use and connect. But I feel that the mother tongue will be having the most emotional strength. I don't know, maybe because we are living in this decolonization period, and then it's my personal attempt to make it the common language, like in the family for me, and to learn it more. But then also as a community, we are at the different levels of us going out of that colonial, and then everyone is at the different level of accepting and living through the language situation. We should be really acceptable about that. Here, I mean the modern, many ethnic Kazakhs now in Kazakhstan who use, even if after graduating from Kazakh school, use Russian and make it more common. And I know that it's a very sensitive topic for others, elders. From my personal experience, I think that we should be more accepting of that. It's the journey, personal journey that needs to be went through. And then we will come back to the point of, no matter the language, we still have this same common values.
Spirit,
yes.
Spirit of giving each other a cloth as gifts at a wedding.
And having a huge table for guests and cooking a lot.
Yeah, and that being said, I think, like you said, it's a personal journey that everyone's sort of going through, and we can't prescribe anyone what that journey should look like. But like one thing for me is just, from my perspective, is that I don't want the Kazakh language to merely be surviving anymore, you know? I mean, and this is sort of my decolonial take on it, is that I would wish for the language to be thriving and having its rightful place of being spoken and used. I wish for the language to flourish in its literary forms as well, and be also contemporary and be cheeky and be used, you know, the way other languages are used. And to also, language is a living thing, right? And I know there are like language purists who want it in its pure form. Like, no, it doesn't need to be pure. It needs to be used. And if its use is going to increase by borrowing words from other languages have always used foreign words. Like half of Turkish is like French and Farsi and Arabic, you know, and even Kazakh itself. There are like so many Arabic words in it, and Farsi words as well. Yeah. So, and if a modern Kazakh is going to include Russian words, so be it. But like, use the language, keep it alive. And that doesn't mean that only certain people are allowed to speak it. I think there should be a greater invitation to have, you know, others, quote unquote, nationalities speak it. Maybe we need to be more inviting in that sense.
I totally agree with you. I just remembered in the threads now, the new platform, Kazakh, I see that it's so beautifully used and striving. And
is there like a Kazakh language threads? Like,
yeah,
really?
When the Real Madrid was coming and playing in Almaty, and then I saw this, I think, foreigners who are writing in Russian, like, I don't understand the laughs. They start writing in Russian, but then the most important part, I feel that it's in Kazakh and then again in Russian, but why they're laughing? It's because of the Kazakh part. And oh my God, it's so cute and so beautiful. I couldn't stop laughing when I think our sense of humor is just hilariously amazing.
Oh my God, yes. Yes.
And those things can be delivered, and now they're being experienced in Kazakh. And I'm so happy, and I get so excited about seeing some expressions and use. And in the future, we can be talking that the influence and the music in Kazakh now that's really bringing and keeping it alive. And
Q-pop.
Yeah, Q-pop. And it's really should be used, and I think we all as a community should learn to be okay about Kazakh accents. Like, we don't use, it's our thing to be like, you have an accent, but we're so okay about accent in English or like Russian. It's like, however you use, you just use it. And
oh my God, whenever I go to I speak Kazakh, people are like, "Siz Uzbeksiz mi?" Because I sound so Uzbek because of my Turkish accent.
Yes, a soft Turkish accent. Yeah,
I need to my r's more.
Oh, about r, I have to learn how to learn. You learn that because my kids are now having r problem.
Do they have the German? Oh my God! Yeah, no, accents are cool. We should make accents sexy again or something like that. I don't know. Make accents really cool now. Gen Z, go do your thing. Make accents in Kazakh cool. Make some TikToks about it. I don't know.
Yeah, we should make an episode in Kazakh and then make it norm.
Yes. Well, we're going to do that anyway.
Yes.
We plan on making some episodes in Kazakh, and then you can see me struggling.
And I love using Kazakh. And I always learn on the way because many words are not used previously. So yeah, this is us. Thank you for being with us.
Yeah.
Do you have something else?
No, thank you so much for listening. Should we do the outro?
Yeah, post-production made by Özgejan.
Visuals by Mere.
And our theme music is made by Dash.
This podcast was filmed and recorded in our home studio. Bye!
Bye-bye!